Hey guys, this is Eve with Scrapbooking with Me, and we're going to make some little doily notebooks. And I got this idea from Natasha from Treasure Books. I think she did them last year sometime, and I just thought they were cute, and I had forgot all about them until I looked up at my doilies this morning in my big stack of them, and I thought I need to do something with those. So I remembered that she had done this last year. Now, you can either clip these on the edge of the page like that. You can glue them straight down where you'll have, the opening, and you'll have all of your little pages in here. Or you can clip them on the top of a page if you want to. Just put them on the top of the page and then clip them with a little pin. Lots of different ways that you can use these. So I'm going to use a few of these in our February journal that we're going to be making. So I'm going to make quite a few of them. Now, we're going to do a couple of different types of stitching today. Hopefully it will help you a little bit. I'm going to do stitching on my sewing machine to put these together. Then I'm going to do hand stitching on one. And then I will glue one. So I'll show you 3 different ways that you can attach these if you don't have a sewing machine or if you'd rather not sew. Alright, I am going to make a small one. I've just got some laid out here. I'm going to make another small one that will hand stitch. And what you need to do, and I know this is white and it's going to be a little bit hard to see. Let me go ahead and ink these edges. That'll help you a little bit. How are you guys today? Hope everybody is doing well. We're doing pretty good around here, I reckon. Just working. Okay. Now you can see the edge of the doily. So what we're going to do is, now I clip mine on here because it's harder for me to hold it and tear than it is, I think, other people maybe because of my wrist that I have the problem in. But if you can hold it, that's fine. You don't have to clip it. I just clip it because my wrist is a little bit weak and it doesn't like to hold things. And I don't want it to slip. So what you're going to do is start tearing. Now you can see I folded my paper. So I'm getting one complete circle out of this. So you're just going to tear your paper just a little bit larger than your doily. The first one, it's going to be just a little bit larger. And don't worry if it's tore straight, if it's crooked, if it's got nubs on it, don't worry. But that's what you're going to do right there. See, my paper's just a little bit larger. I'm going to go ahead and ink this a little bit so that you can see the next layer. Now these doilies are, let's see how big these are. These are 4-inch across. But you can use any size. As you see, I've got some clipped together here that are even larger. So any size that your book or your journal is going to fit. Some journals are not going to, it's not going to be the right size. But just kind of hold it up to your journal and see how big your journal can take or how big you want to make them. Alright, I'm going to unclip that. And then I'm just going to, see, I folded that over. And and that's a little bit much. I don't want to waste any of my tea-dyed paper or coffee-dyed paper. So I'm just going to hold it like that and put this on the inside and see if that's about right. And that looks about right there. So fold that over. Then I'm going to insert this on there like that, leaving a little bit at the top where I can start tearing. And then I'm just going to clip it. So then this one, you're going to tear just a little bit larger than that last piece that you had there. Now, you can put as many pages in these as you want. I'm probably putting, let's see, 3, 4, I'm probably putting 4 to 6 pages in there, but you can do more if you want or less. This is just about enough for me, I think. Don't want them too bulky. There we go. And you can see my tearing is not always, some people think that you got to tear just exactly right. You don't. The tearing is what's pretty. Okay, ink that around. I'm going to put one more page in there, I think. Now this is a page, and I hope this will fit. Let's see. Well, I've got it torn there, so I'm not going to be able to use that one, I don't think. Nope, that one's torn. Let's use this one. This is a page from, let's see, I watercolored this with my metallic watercolors. So you can see the, hopefully you can see the shimmer on there. Okay. Open up. You need to open it to that last doily that you put on there. We don't need quite that much. And that looks about right. And see, these are just half sheets that I have here. So if you have some smaller doilies, you can use the half sheets. If you've got the larger doilies, then you're probably going to have to use the full 8.5 by 11 sheets in order to be able to fold it over and have enough to tear. All right, we're going to tear around this. And I will link Natasha's video down below. I had to look it back up this morning just so I could see how she did these exactly. I thought I knew, but I wanted to look back up to see. So I'll link her video below. There you go. Now, I don't throw these pieces away because I can use those. Now, I think that might be all that I put in this little notebook. So it'll have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. That's about enough for me, but you could put one more page in there if you want to, or 2 more, whatever you would like. You make it for you. I think about 6 to 8 is enough. Okay. Now, if you can see, I've got it inked down through here, and I know that's kind of hard to see, so let me hold it this way. See, I've got an ink down through there where I folded it. Now, I am going to clip these together. Let's see if nope, that little clip I don't think will work. Yeah, it'll work right there. Okay. I'm going to clip those together, and I'm going to let that hold, and I'm going to use some brown thread. I'll just use brown thread so that you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Normally, I would probably use white on it, but I'm just going to use some brown on this. Okay, now I like the longer needles. This one, if you can see it, it's probably, let's see if I can find my ruler and we'll tell you about how long it is. It's almost 2 inches, but you can use a shorter needle. It doesn't matter. I just like the longer ones because I have kind of big fingers, so. Now, the hardest problem for me sometimes is threading my needle. That time it worked. Well, I threaded it and unthreaded it. Okay, let's try that one more time. Sometimes I can see that little hole, and then other times I can't. Okay, let's try not to unthread it this time. All right. Now, a tie knot in the bottom. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to start out here at the end, and you're going to follow. Let me go ahead and fold all of it and put a little ink all the way down so that I can see what line I want to follow. You want to follow that ink line. I'm going to have to use something different to clip it with. That's going to be way too big. Okay, let's use one of these bigger paper clips to put on there. That'll just kind of hold them together while we stitch. Now you're going to come up from the inside, and you're just going to come up right at the end of that second little stacked page there. And then I like to have my stitches about 1/8 of an inch or a little bit less, but you can have long stitches, short stitches, it doesn't matter. So go down, go up. You can make them the length of them longer, you can make it shorter, you can make it look like a little stitch that the sewing machine would do. It doesn't matter, it's up to you. It's all going to hold. So I'm just going to go up and down right on that line, on that ink line that I have there. Look, my mind just went blank. Okay. And I'll try to hold it up in a second when I get a few stitches in here and see if you can see it. I love hand stitching. Okay, so yeah, you can see those stitches. I know my camera doesn't exactly focus unless I keep it on autofocus, which I don't like, but you can see the stitches on there. So see, on the bottom, I'm just pushing that up through. And sometimes I may come up a little bit beside that line, and if I do, I just bring it back out and then push it back up again. So then you're going to go back down. And see the inside, it doesn't look too great, but it doesn't matter. This is a little handmade notebook, hand stitched. Now to me, it's easier if I turn it like this. I was holding it the other way so that you could see a little bit better maybe, but it's easier for me if I hold mine sideways, kind of. Okay, there we go. And sometimes you can even go down and then go back up in another place there. Like push it down and then push it back up right there. And that may be a little bit easier for you if to get it in the line that you need. But either way, it's going to hold, so you don't have to have it perfect. Mine is definitely not. I mean, stitching paper is a lot like stitching material, but it's a little bit more difficult because your material bends a lot easier than paper does sometimes. So, but it can be done, and it holds just as well. So we're going to go down and then back up. And then down, back up. And then since we're right here at the end, we're just going to push that down through. And we're going to go to the back side. And then I'm just going to run my needle under some of those threads there. And then do the little loop and tie a little knot. And I'll run it through maybe one more just so that I can make sure that it's going to stay. Of course, this is, you know, you could put a little bit of glue on this and it would hold it extra tight, but doing this like this is fine. So there you go. We've got that tied off. Oh, come on now. There we go. Okay. Now, there's our stitching on the inside, which doesn't look great, but it's okay, because that's going to be folded, basically. And then there's the stitching on the outside that you just barely can see. Barely. Like that. Okay? So that's all stitched together. Now, what Natasha did, or Natasha, some people have corrected me on that. Natasha, what she did is she put just a few little scraps. So I just have a few little scraps pulled out here. And first we're going to use a piece of music page. I'm just going to ink that up. And then I'm going to use a little piece of vellum. And this is some printed vellum that's been printed on. And I like to ink around each layer of the paper because that way you can see the different layers that you've got there. And then we're going to use a little piece of cheesecloth. And I like to just kind of fray it out a little bit. So put that there. Then what else do we have? Let's put a little piece of material maybe. Just clip a piece of this. And I like to fray that as well. So we'll put that down. And then let's put a little piece of lace or a little piece of trim on there. And then, let's see, she took just a string and tied it. Well, she didn't really tie it. She just kind of looped it around there. But I'm going to make a little loop out of mine like that and just twist it. And I'm going to put that right at the top like that. So I've got my little stack here. See if I can hold it and I'll show you. I know it's a little bit hard to see, but once I get it stitched, I'll show you. Now I'm going to go ahead and tie another loop, or tie a knot in the end of my string, another loop. And then I'm going to stitch this together. Now you don't have to do this. You can staple it together if you want to. I don't particularly like staples in my stuff. And you don't have to stitch this a lot because you're going to glue this down. But I'm just going to do some rough stitching on here. Make sure that I catch everything. And I'm just going on that thread. I'm just going from one side to the other. Just catching that in there. Okay. Go a few more times just to make sure that I've caught everything that I need to. And I don't mind that brown showing in the center. That doesn't bother me at all. I'm going to clip that little string off, so we're going to leave that. Okay, take that back down. And that should hold everything nice and tight. And then I'm not going to worry about doing much on the back. I'm just going to run that under the threads a couple of times. But like I said, this is going to be glued down, so it's not going to have a lot of stitching on there. I'm just going to trim that little piece off right there. And then we're going to glue this down right there. Okay, just kind of bring it to the center and glue it down like that. And there is another little notebook. Aren't they cute? I think they are, and I like the stitching on them better than I do. This one I just kind of glued. I like the stitching showing better, I think. Okay, let's do some of the larger ones. Now, I've shown you how to tear the paper, so you don't need to see that again. This is a larger one, and this is one that I have ink dyed. This doily, I ink dyed it, and we're going to do a little bit of inking around the edges. You can ink with any color, make it look just exactly like you want to. You could even ink each layer with different colors if you wanted to. That would be pretty as well. I'm just going to use my vintage photo and just touching the tips just to get a little bit of color on there, just so that the different layers are going to be separated. Okay, we're going to put this in there. Sit that one inside that one, and then this one inside that. Now you can see this one's quite large. Let's see how big it is. It's about 7.5 all the way, but it will go in my large journal, in the 9-inch one. So it'll go in there just fine, so that's not a problem. Now on this one, we will just glue it down. So if you don't want to stitch, show you how that we glue. I'm just going to hold my different layers in there. And I'm just going to grab my glue. And it doesn't matter, you can use the Barely Arts glue, or you can use the art glitter glue. Whichever one you have will work, or you can use Fabri-Tac. You're just going to put a little bead of glue right down where that fold is, and then you're going to pick up the next one, all the time holding this nice and tight. Run that little bead of glue right down that center part, and I just kind of fold it over a little, just enough that I can press that seam down there, and then open this one up and do the same thing here. And I'm just running that bead right down that fold, and fold it back over and then press right there. And I think that's my last one. Let me see. Yep, that's it. So that one is glued together. So if you don't want to do any stitching at all, you can just do your gluing, and it will stay just as well. Okay. Now we'll make something pretty to go on the front of it, hopefully. Well, let's see. Let's take this piece. It's going to have to be a little bit bigger to go on this one, so we're going to take this piece. Now, if you want to, these little clusters that we're putting on the top, if you want to do stitching on those instead of, like sewing machine stitching instead of hand stitching, you can do that. Or you can staple them together. Lots of different ways. This is just an old piece of material. I'm going to put that down, but I'm going to put my tissue paper down first, I think. Not tissue paper, vellum. Put the vellum across there. Put that there. And then a little piece of cheesecloth. And you can see I just pulled out little scraps of everything from different areas. You don't have to have anything big, just some little tiny scraps. Let's see. I think I'll put a piece of this on there. There we go. And then, let's see. Let's put a little piece of twine on this one. This twine may be a little bit too big. I'm not sure. We may have to separate it. Let's see if it'll separate without much of a problem. There we go. Got it separated. And now I just take it and wrap it around my fingers a few times. Kind of wrap it through. If I want it to be caught in the middle, I just put it back through my fingers, if I can get a hold of it. And then just kind of pull on that, and that will make a little loop there. Let's see. That one looks really ragged, and I like that. So then, what we're going to do is just take this and hold it, and I'm just going to do some stitching on here. Now, I've not tied a knot in my strings, and I'm just going to go with that until I get here, and then I'll tie my knot. There we go. I think I got a little knot in there. And then I'm just going to do some loop stitching. Just going to stitch over that, making little loops. I think it is actually called a couch stitch, but all you're doing is catching that string and the ribbon and the lace and all of that in there in your stitch. So I'm coming up on one side of my string, that string that goes across, and then I'm going down on the other side. And I'm just pulling it. You know, you can't pull real tight when you're doing, when you're stitching on paper. Not like you can on material, because you'll tear your thread out. But you can pull it pretty tight, especially once you get a few stitches in there. And that's going to be more than enough to hold it, but I wanted that brown thread to show there in the center, so we're going to leave that like that. I'm just going to run this thread back up through like that. not really worry about a knot because we're going to clip that off. And then we're going to glue that piece down right there. And I think I can just glue it with this. Yeah, there we go. Now you can leave these little loops like they are, or you can clip them whichever way you want. But isn't that cute? I think they're cute little notebooks. They're easy too, so that's the good part. All right, let's do this blue one. I want to put it in our journal for next month because our February journal is going to be blue, mostly blue and teal. Blue, green, and teal. It's going to be a mixture, I think. So let's go ahead and do some tearing. Okay, we got that. Let's see. And this is not even a tea-dyed paper, but I think I'm going to put that in there anyway. This is just a piece that I printed, but I think I'm going to use it. Yeah, that's going to work. So we're going to put that in there. So you don't have to use ink dyed or tea dyed or paper like that you have dyed. You can use any of your thin paper that you have. Anything that you can tear. Your digital prints, if you print them on just regular copy paper, they're good for this. I'm just grabbing some scraps and things over here that I have been using. Let me see. Let me grab at least another couple of pages. Oops. Oh, you know what? I may put a piece of book page in this one. And I know book page is not or music page is not normally written on, but I think it'll look pretty in here. So let's see. Yeah, let's do that. And put book page in it, pages out of magazines, anything that you have in your stash that you might want to use. And don't throw away those little pieces. You can use those for your little clusters. Okay, what else do we want to put on there? Let's put a piece of this. This is a little bit thicker paper, but I think it'll be okay. I think I'll be able to tear it. This is not exactly copy paper, but I think it'll work. Okay. Oh yeah, we can tear it. You ever notice that some paper tears a lot easier than other paper? I think it just depends on what kind of print, ink and things they put on it. Even if it's the same pounds or GSMs, I think a lot of times it just depends. Now this is tearing so much easier than my copy paper did. Just depends. Okay. I like that. Let me even this up a little bit. Let's see, that slid a little, so I'm going to move that back up. And we'll move that one back up. And that works right there. Okay, I'm going to keep it clipped. Now, you could have inked as you went along if you wanted to. That would work just fine. But sometimes I just ink at the end. And I just ink them as I go. Like this. You don't even have to ink, you know. I like to ink because it separates the layers, but you don't have to. Okay. And then my napkin. All right, now we're going to put them back together. Oh, I like this. I like it with the music page. And then this is so pretty. Okay, so that is the way they are. I'm going to stitch this one on my sewing machine, and all I'm going to do is open it up. First I'm going to put my ink down through there. That will give me a line to go by. Then I'm just going to open it up, lay it on my sewing machine, and stitch right down the center. Okay, there we go. We have the stitching, and I just used some white thread, just what was on my sewing machine. Okay, so there is that one. Now, you can, if you don't want to put these clusters on there, if that looks a little bit too messy for you, if you don't like clusters, then you can put a focal point on here by just using a flower or something. Let me grab a flower and see if I might have a flower or something in here that would look okay on there. And this is still the Tim Holtz flowers. What do you think about that one? That looks pretty, doesn't it? We may use that one. Or this one's got a little blue in it. I don't know. Let's see. That one has a little blue in it. What do you think about that one? Now I don't know which one. I think that's the only one that I have that has blue in it. But I'm not liking the shape of that one as well as I do this one. So I think I'm going to use that one, but I am going to put, let's see, I think I'm going to put some music page behind it anyway, just to kind of make it stand out a little bit more. I mean, I love my clusters, but, you know, clusters made like this. But if you don't like that, then you could just do another focal point. You just need some kind of little focal point on the front. So let's see, we put that down and then put that down like that. Well, let's turn it the right way. Put that down like that. And we could even put a little bit of this trim down through there if we wanted to. Okay, let's glue some of this down, and we'll kind of get started by doing some layering. Now, when you glue this down on here, you need to, let's just put this in the middle there. You need to make sure, because that glue is going to go through that napkin. So just kind of put something in there to keep that from going through. Now this has a little bit of gathering to it, so I'm just going to clip those threads to pull that gather out of there. That way I don't have to cut it off. See, it's not gathering anymore. And I may just put that right there. And I think I'm only going to glue it on here because I don't want to stick my page together. Okay, let me unclog this. I know sometimes I forget and leave it open for a little while, and it doesn't like that. Okay, and we will lay that right down through there, and I'm just going to leave it kind of hanging off a little bit. All right, then let's see. I have a little piece of this that would go with that blue. Let's see if it's going to work. I think I like it better without that under there. And I do have a little piece of this, oops. I have a little piece of this gold thread that we got in our kits. Let's see, they were in the January kits, I believe. So I'm just going to kind of loop that up, twist it a little bit, and put it behind the flower. And then lay my flower on top and see what that looks like. Yeah, I like that kind of sticking out there. So I'm going to put a little glue on here, just across that. Turn that over and put a little glue here and there. And I need to lay that down right there. There we go. Got those little pieces sticking out. And that's how it looks. And I like that. Now I'm going to make sure that this is not sticking to anything. There we go. So we'll let that dry before we try to put it in our journal or anything. But I like that. So see, you can do that too. You don't have to do the clusters. Now, I'll show you how I would put it, how I would insert it in my journal. So let's just grab our January journal. And I've got quite a bit of this done, but I'm going to be doing more on the video. I had some people that wanted me to show how to do the envelope that's in here, so we'll do that envelope. So let's just say that we wanted to put a cluster on this page or a little notebook. You can just put it there and you can clip it. You could clip it with a big pen, a little pen, it doesn't matter. You can clip it there, you can take it off, write notes in it, and then put it back on. Or if you want rather clip it to like a half page, which that would work. Let's see, right here, this music page. You could put it down here on the top like that, and then just put your paper clip across it. And of course I would use a smaller paper clip, but that's just dealing with what I have out here on my desk. And I think that's cute. You can put another cluster on the back if you wanted to, or put a focal point there, decorate that up. But I think those are cute. They're absolutely cute. And I thank Natasha for showing us how to do these. Like I said, I will link her channel below. But this is our January journal. Now I've got up to, let's see, I'm about ready to start my second signature, and you know, it'll go pretty fast because I don't have that many pages in that one. But I'm going to come on and show you, probably it'll be tomorrow's video. We will do this. I will show you how to decorate this up and make pockets out of it. So the envelope that's on the inside. And then we're going to do this page, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to stitch on this and then put it down and make it look like a little quilt-like thing. We're going to do that. And we'll probably attach one of these on there. I may even put a little cluster on the back of one. And then we'll go through and do some more pages because we've got the rest of this week to finish this up. And then we're going to be starting on our January journal next week. I think it's next week, isn't it? The 1st. But let's go ahead and get this one finished. So I'll probably work on it quite a bit tomorrow. And I will film as much of it as I can. There's going to be, there'll be a few pages that I won't film because it might be duplicate. Now these you've already seen. Through here I just need to glue that down. That's one of our pockets. Some of these you've seen already. I did put some trim on the edges of some of these. There's that one. These I did yesterday. And see, I've just put a side pocket, and I'll go over all of this when we start doing this tomorrow. I'll go back over all of those and show you exactly how they're done. Okay, now these little pieces that we had left, these little pieces right here. Like I said, don't throw those away. This one in particular, let's just use this one. And I'll show you what I'll do with some of these. And I'm just freehand cutting it, but I would cut it on my trimmer. And I'll also save a few of these little pieces. They'd be good for clusters as well. So let's grab a little piece of blue here. And then I'll use a piece of this. Okay, and that may be enough. So what we will do with these is we'll come in here and put these together. And I'll probably tear the edges of them. I've got rulers hanging on everything. And then I'll fold these, and I like that right there. I'll fold these and do a little stitching down the center. Put me a focal point on the front, and these edges I'll tear or either cut with my little scissors. I might cut all 3 edges, and then I'll put a little focal point on here, and these can be just some little tuck notebooks. So, all right, let's just put one together. And I'm just going to use my little decal scissors here. You can tear it with the ruler if you want. These do a cut similar to a stamp, so like that. And then, of course, I will ink around mine. And then let me stitch real quick on this. Okay, so we've got that stitched together. Trim my thread off there. All right, let's put just a little focal point on the front. And we'll just use another piece of this music page, a little piece of material. I'm just going to use what I have left right here on my desk. A little piece of cheesecloth. And I'm actually going to put this piece of pink lace there. And then just a little white string. And this is just a piece of string that I had left off of when I did some stitching for my signatures, and I just had this little piece left and I didn't want to throw it away. So we're going to use it on here. Okay, that's how we're going to do that. And I'm going to pull that over there. And then I'll just staple this one just to show you what the stapling looks like when you staple them together. Like I said, that's not one of my favorite things to do, but sometimes if you're in a hurry and making a lot, it works, you know. And you can always put some little something on the top of that to cover that staple up if you want to. Just put another little piece of lace there. So let's do a little glue on the bottom. We'll put that down right there, just like that. And then I'm just going to see if I've got a little tiny flower that I can, or a butterfly or something, excuse me, that I can put right on top of that. Okay, this is just a little flower that I had trimmed out for something else. I don't remember what, and I didn't use it. So we're just going to glue that down. I'm just going to lay it right across like that. And then these little threads I'm just going to clip. And then just kind of move them apart a little bit. And there you go. You have a little sweet little notebook. And we can go ahead and put a word on there if we want. Let's just put happy on there. Let's see if that's going to be big enough. Oh yeah, that'll look cute right there. Okay. So there is your little notebook. And this you can just tuck in a little pocket or whatever you would want to do with it. You could clip it on as well. And you can see the bottom of mine is not even cut off straight, but I don't care. To me, that's just more, shows that it was handmade, hand-stitched, that kind of thing. Alright guys, that is it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And if you make some of these, please share them over on our Facebook group. That link is directly below. All you have to do is ask to join and one of the admins will approve you. And we will talk to you guys later. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.